गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु
गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
ईशावास्योपनिषद Mantra 1. Let us chant the mantra. Ishavasyamidam sarvam.
ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं
Yatkincha jagatyam jagat.
यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत्
Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha.
तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीताः
मा गृथः कस्य स्विद्धनम्.
मा कस्य स्विद्धनम्
मा गृथः कस्य स्विद्धनम्.
मा पृथक् कस्य स्विद्धनम्
ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वम्. A very important statement. Idam sarvam. Idam means idam shabdavachyam. That which deserves the reference this. There are two things. One is that which deserves the reference idam, this. What deserves the reference this? Everything that can be objectified. Everything that is object deserves to be called this. Idam pratyaya yogya. That which deserves the reference this. Then there is another thing which deserves the reference I. Aham pratyaya yogya. What is it? It is the Atma, the Chaitanya, the consciousness, which does not deserve to be called this. It is not idam pratyaya yogya. Instead, it is aham pratyaya yogya. It deserves to be called I. Now the Upanishad is talking about idam. The objects. Idam sarvam. All the objects. Idam sarvam Ishavasyam. Isha. Isha is Tritiya Vibhakti. Ekavachana. Third case singular of Isha Shabda. The word is Ish. In Tritiya Vibhakti it becomes Isha. by Ishvara, with Ishvara. In Sanskrit, the third case has the meaning of by or with. Ishavasyam. Vasyam means achadaniyam. It should be covered. Idam sarvam Ishavasyam. All these should be covered with Ishvara. Ishvara. Ishte iti eat. That is how Shankaracharya derives the word Ish. Ishte iti eat. One who rules is called Ish. Ishvara. Ish means Ishvara. One who rules is called Ishvara. It is none other than Paramatma. Ishvara Paramatma. You can call him Paramatma or you can call him Brahman. It is one and the same. Though each word has its own relevance. When you call him Paramatma, you also imply that it is none other than your own self. He is Atma. Ishvara is Atma. Because Ishvara is not different from your own self. In the meantime, he is Paramaha, Parama-Atma or Para-Atma, both means same. Why he is called Paramatma? Because the true nature of Ishvara, the true nature of Paramatma is not affected by the samsara. He is asamsari. He transcends samsara. He transcends the ups and downs of life. He transcends all the problems associated with life. That is why he is called Parama-Atma. He is Atma, but not Jivatma. Who is Jivatma? Jivatma is a complaining individual. Jivatma is confined to the body, and with all its confinement, the Jivatma keeps complaining. I don't have this, I don't have that, this did not happen in my life, that did not happen in my life. The Jivatma is a complaining individual. Whereas Ishvara is Paramatma, transcends all the limitations, transcends all the problems. Therefore, we call him Paramatma. He is Atma. In the meantime, he is Parama. Paramascha asau atma cha iti paramatma. And he is also called Brahman. Why he is called Brahman? Brihi vruddhau brahadhatu plus manin pratyaya becomes Brahman. Brahman means the big. The big. The big means infinite, free from all limitations, infinite. That is Paramatma. And when something is infinite, something is really infinite, it does not give room to a second. In infinite, there is no possibility of a second. Therefore, the Brahman is one without a second. Ekameva advitiyam. One without a second. That is Paramatma. That is Brahman. And the Paramatma is called Ishvara. Ishavasyopanishad calls him Ishte. Ishte is a shorter name. If you want a longer name, you can say Ishvara. If you want a still longer name, you can say Paramesvara. Some people have the name Paramesvara. Older generation people had the name Paramesvara. Parameswaran Ayyar, Parameswaran Nayar, Parameswaran Ayyangar. You might be knowing such people. So, even Ayyangar can be Parameshwar. No problem with that. If you study Ishavasyopanishad, there is no problem. So, older generation will have Parameshwara. Then little younger generation became Ishvara. Parama is too long. Let us make it Ishvara. And the present generation, Ish. Ishavasyopanishad is for present generation. Because it uses the shortest name of Ishvara. Ish. Ishavasya. So this Paramatma is called Ishvara. Why he is called Ishvara? In his own nature, he is not Ishvara also. Because the word Ishvara is a relation word. If he is an Ishvara, it has to be with reference to something else. It is like a father. Many of you are fathers. Almost everyone that I can see and I know are fathers here. the men I am talking about. You have your own names. In addition to that, someone he calls you father. But the word father is with reference to someone. Father is a relation word. Only when there is a son or daughter, you are called father. Likewise, even the word Ishvara is a relation word. Ishvara means ruler. Only when there is a rule, he becomes ruler. What is the ruled? Idam sarvam. This whole universe. Idam sarvam. With reference to idam sarvam, he is Ishvara. He is the ruler. Now, how does Ishvara rule? Does he rule like any other local ruler? He doesn't rule with like any other local ruler. The local ruler, we don't know whether he really rules. But this Ishvara, he rules everything by providing the very existence to everything. Satta spurti pradhanena, by providing existence and by providing spurti, consciousness. He is ruling everything. Without Ishvara, the world cannot even exist, because even the existence of the world depends on Ishvara. Where does the universe get its existence? It is from Ishvara. Because of who the universe become evident, it is because of Ishvara. Without Paramatma, the universe would not have even gained its existence, and the universe would not have even become evident without the presence of Paramatma. That is how he is the ruler of everything. That is how he is the sustainer of everything. That is why he is called Ishvara. Ish. And the Shruti says, Ishavasyopanishad sarvam. This whole universe should be covered with the Ishvara. Idam sarvam. All this. And what is this all? Can all include everything, or all excludes certain things? There are some philosophies according to whom Ishvara is not there in everything. God is not there in everything. That was how someone taught me once. I went for a 5 days training when I was a school boy. Then this 5 days training, they had many pictures. They had a book with many pictures and some explanation. And one picture, one page of the book with the pictures. The heading was, God is not everywhere. And below that heading there was a dog's picture. And the one who was training me, she told me, God is not everywhere. Because if you say God is everywhere, that means God is there in the dog also. So God is not there in dog. This is one philosophy. In fact, that is what they teach in theology. The theology cannot attribute any imperfection to the God. God is pure. God is perfect. And the perfect God cannot be placed on this imperfect earth. If the perfect God is there in the imperfect earth, then God will be tainted by the imperfections of the earth. That is why the God has to be placed in a place which is free from all imperfections. That is why God is placed in heaven, Father in heaven. That is why when there is God, when you think of God, you have to look upwards. Uparwala. So God is somewhere above. In a place that is free from imperfections. In a place that is free from impurities. But then there is another question. If the God is in heaven and not here, that means God is confined to heaven. God is limited to a localized place called heaven. God is not local here, but He is local in heaven. He is confined to heaven, limited to heaven. Then you have to accept the limitation of God. Because if He is infinite, He has to be everywhere. If He is only in heaven, that means He is limited. And if He is limited, He should also be imperfect. Because everything limited is imperfect. And if He is imperfect, He cannot be called God. Anything imperfect is not God. That is why the theology has a problem which is not resolved so far by theologians. They cannot keep God on the earth. They have to keep Him in the heaven. If they keep Him on the earth, he will be polluted by the earth. Therefore, to make him free from pollution, they keep him in the glass case of heaven. And if they keep him in the glass case of heaven, he gets confined. Therefore, he gets the imperfection of confinement. How to solve this problem? The solution can be found only in Vedanta. The Vedanta Shastra clearly says that Ishvara is all pervasive. Paramatma is all pervasive. Sabhumim Vishwato Vrittva Atyatishthad Dashangulam. Saha Bhumim Vishwato Vrittva. He pervades this whole universe. In the meantime, he stands 10 inches above. Atyatishthad Dashangulam. That means he pervades everything. In the meantime, he transcends everything. Ishvara is immanent as well as transcendent. This understanding is found only in our Shastras, nowhere else. He pervades everything. Therefore, we don't have any problem in saying Ishvara is infinite. Because if he is infinite, he has to be all purpose. In the meantime, he is not affected by anything because he transcends it. How to understand this? I give the example of the movie screen. The movie screen pervades every object in the movie. The movie screen pervades every scene in the movie. In the meantime, the movie screen does not get affected by any picture projected on the movie. It transcends. Likewise, Ishvara is all pervasive. As the very existence, as the consciousness, he pervades everything. As the very substratum of the universe, he pervades everything. In the meantime, Ishvara remains unaffected. Because Ishvara is a greater reality and the universe is a lesser reality. Just like the mirage water and the desert sand. The mirage water does not soak the desert sand because the mirage water is a lesser reality and the sand in the desert is a greater reality compared to the mirage water. Similarly, the universe is a lesser reality and Ishvara is a greater reality. Paramatma is a greater reality. That is why the universe does not affect the Paramatma. The impurities in the universe, the imperfections in the universe do not affect the Paramatma. because Paramatma is a greater being. That is how Paramatma transcends the universe, being all pervasive. And that is the vision conveyed by Ishavasyopanishad sarvam also. Ishavasya. Everything should be covered by Ishvara. And how to cover? Covering means not a physical cover. You cannot bring Ishvara and sprinkle over everything. It is not possible. Therefore, the Shruti does not mean a physical covering. Then what kind of covering is intended? Covering implies the understanding that everything is essentially Ishvara. Ishvara is the essence of everything. Ishvara is the substratum of everything. This understanding is implied. A mother takes her 4-year-old child to a jewelry shop. And when the mother takes the child, the mother tells the child that we are going to see gold. I will show you gold. This is what the mother says to the child. Then both mother and child enter the jewelry shop. And in the jewelry shop, there are so many things hanging on the wall. There is bangle, there is a chain, there is a chamikara. Chamikara is a type of chain. There is a chudamani, another type of ornament. Earring, kundala, nupura. Nupura means, gadget. What is it called in English? Anklet. Then Keyura. Keyura is another ornament. So there are various types of ornaments. And the child saw them. And the child is recognizing various objects. The child knows this is bangle. Oh, there is a bangle. Many bangles. The child has seen only 2 bangles that his mother wears. Now, in this shop there are so many bangles. The child is wondering. So many bangles. Varieties of bangles. Varieties of chains. For a while the child enjoyed watching various ornaments. So many chains, so many bangles. Everything looks beautiful. But after a while, when the child got tired of seeing various objects, the child asked the mother, when you brought me here, you said you will show me gold. Where is gold? I see here various other things. I see bangles, I see chains, I see anklets, bracelets, amulets. Where is gold? Then the mother said, everything that is here is gold. Idam sarvam gold. Child could not understand. But what about the bangle? What about the chain? What about the earring? What about the nose ring? Then the mother explained, what you call bangle, it is just a name given to a form. There is a rupa. Rupa means a form. It is just a form. When the gold takes a particular form, then you give a particular name. Bangle. So bangle is just a name and a form. There is no substance called bangle. What is the substance? The substance is nothing other than gold. So bangle, when you say bangle, what you essentially mean is nothing but gold. Gold is the essence of bangle. If you remove the bangle form and the bangle name, what remains? Gold. Likewise, every other ornament in the shop, if you remove the name and the form, you don't have to remove the name and form physically. Just remove in your mind by understanding that it is not substance. Then what remains for you is nothing but gold. So mother taught the child. Then what happens in the child's mind? There is no change happening in the shop itself. In the shop, every ornament is intact. But in the child's mind, a change has happened in the vision. A change takes place in the child's perspective. Previously, the child saw many things, many objects. But now the child sees everything as gold. The child identifies everything as gold. Bangle is gold. Chain is gold. So there is a shift of perspective in the child's mind. And this shift of perspective is figuratively called as a covering, achhadanam. The child as though covered everything with gold. The child covered the bangle, chain, anklet, bracelet, etc. with gold. In the form of the shift of perspective. The perspective changed from nama rupa, name and form, to the substance. Vastu. The substance is called Vastu. Gold is the Vastu. Bangle, chain, etc. are Nama Rupa. From Nama Rupa Drishti, the child shifted to Vastu Drishti or Tattva Drishti. That is called Kaval. Achana. And the Shruti is addressing a mumukshu, one who wants moksha. If you want to moksha, you have to cover everything with Ishvara. Means you should get the perspective, you should get the vision, you should get the understanding that everything is essentially nothing other than Ishvara. Everything is nothing other than Brahman, the Paramatma. That is Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.